I'm going to discuss today the week 17 two topics in your week 17, which is already discussed in your previous term in the prelim and midterm, the material in the prelim and midterm period. But in the final term, in the week 17, it is only a review of the business finance when it comes to financial planning and preparation of financial statements and reports. Okay, so our topic for today is the week 17 of your material in your LMS. It is review of financial statement preparation, analysis, and interpretation. So so this will be all serve as I've said, a review or calling back or returning back to the lecture, which how to prepare the financial statement and analyze and also interpret and analyze the financial performance of the business. So this will be our learning objective. Okay, we have to review the accounting cycle and financial statements, and you also to discuss the performance of the vertical and horizontal analysis of financial statements, and compute, analyze, and interpret the basic types of financial ratios. Okay, the first thing in preparing the financial statement is the accounting cycle. So the accounting cycle, it talks about the step-by-step procedure or sequential steps in order to accomplish the accounting process in preparing the financial statements. So this will be the procedure of the accounting cycle from identifying the transaction to be recorded and journalize the transaction by using the journal or the general journal. And then we have post those transactions from the general journal to the ledger. And then we prepare the trial balance. And then we should prepare the worksheet and adjustment entries if there is at the end of the accounting period, and preparing the financial statements, which is the income statement, balance sheet, the statement of cash flow, and even the statement of comprehensive income. And then we have to adjust the journal entries or the adjusting closing entries, okay, and then preparation of the post-closing trial balance. And of course, we have to reverse the journal entries at the end of the term for the new accounting period to be recorded. Okay, financial statement, these are the reports that outlines the financial activities or to summarize the financial activities of the business. So what are the elements of financial statements? We have two, the financial position and the financial performance. The financial position, it represents or it reports the status of the assets, liabilities, and the capital of the business. While the financial performance, it is a subjective measure that a firm can use assets as a primary mode of business that will generate revenues. Okay, that's the element of financial statements. So financial statement, it composed of 5. Okay, this will be the income statement, the statement of comprehensive income. This will be in the financial accounting and reporting, statement of financial position or the balance sheet, the statement of cash flows, and the notes to financial statements. So those are the accounting cycle and the preparation of financial statements. So now, let us proceed to financial statement analysis. So after we prepare the financial statement, it is time to interpret by analyzing the performance of the financial performance of the business, and even, okay, and not only financial performance and the status of the business that they exist. So first, we have the horizontal analysis. So how do we analyze the financial statement using this? They have to compare the previews from several years in each account from the past financial performance up to the present. And by means of doing this horizontal analysis, they use the index analysis. This is the percentage analysis of financial statements where the figures are expressed a base year equal to 100%, and the subsequent financial statements are expressed as percentage in the values in the base year. So how can we use this? This is an example. Let's say we have the FPL company income statement for the period ended of 2013, 2014, and 2015. Okay, this is the current and this is the past income statement, as you can see in the screen. Now, as you can see, on the base year, which is 2013, all the percentage in the horizontal analysis are 100%. But in 2014, how do we get the analyze the performance in the income statement? So this one, the 400,000 for the gross sales, it should be divided into 390 over 100, that would be 103%. The cost of goods sold for 2014, that is 80,000, divided by 90% times 100, that is 89%. The gross profit, 320 divided by 300 times 100, that's 107%. And then the expenses, 30%, 30,000 divided by 35,000 times 100, that's 86%. And then the income and before tax, 290 divided by 265, that's 109%. And same with the net income. Okay, and same procedure with 2015. How can you analyze the percentage of the income statement? As you can see, from 2013 up to 2015, okay, as you can see, the gross sales, it is increasing, okay? While for the cost of goods sold, well, it will increase, and that's not good because in 2015, that's 22%. There's something wrong about the cost of goods sold. Even though we generate a gross sale, but if the cost of goods sold are high, in order to deduct in the gross sales, it will be affect the gross profit. And that this is the gross profit. As you can see, it will decrease or return or break even, or it return to 100% in 2015. While the expenses are increasing. As you can see, the gross profit is break even and the expenses are increasing. What would be happen to the income before tax? It decrease. And same with the net income. So what is the analysis of the horizontal analysis? As you can see, by means of percentage, we can interpret horizontal, we can interpret the performance of the business from the current and the past. As you can see in the current, the financial performance in 2015 are decreasing when it comes to net income and gross profit, but the gross sales are increasing. But take note of this, even though the gross sales are increasing, but if the cost of goods sold and even the expenses are increasing, it will affect the net income, or even it will decrease the net income. Okay, the other one is the vertical analysis. So what is vertical analysis? This is, okay, it is measured based on the relationship of each item in the financial statement with respect to the amount of a certain account. Okay, the common analysis that we use here in vertical is the common size analysis, which the figures are converted into percentage of a common base account. So what is the example here? It's going back to the FPL company income statement. So what year is this? Okay, sorry. Oops. Okay, let's say this is a year 2013. Okay, the common base is the gross sales, that is 100%. Then this one, how do we compute here? This one will be divided to 390 times 100 in order to get the 23%. 300 divided by 390, that is 70%. 35 for the less operating expenses divided by 390, that's 9%. Same with the net income before tax, and then income before tax. As you can see, this is a vertical analysis. As you can see here, this is the base is the gross sales, 100%. And of course, and you less this, the percentage for the gross profit is 77%. In the 2013, less all the deductibles, it will be lead to 48%. So as per analysis in the vertical, at 48%, it can be not good at all because it will, this financial performance at become, needs some improvement in order to cover up some of the expenses and even the liabilities of the business. Okay, same with the financial position. So that will be the financial analysis. So another way of analyzing or interpreting the financial performance of the business in the financial statement is the financial ratio analysis. A financial ratio analysis in order to get the percentage of each assets, liabilities, capital, and even the sales and expenses of the business. Okay, so the financial ratio analysis composed of liquidity ratio, profitability, and even the leverage ratio. So what is a liquidity ratio? A liquidity ratio, this is a financial metric that used to determine the business or the company's ability to pay all the short-term debt obligation or all the short-term liabilities. And when you say liquidity, the ability of the business, the ability of the assets of the business to pay the short-term liabilities. So liquidity ratio has the following types. How do we measure the liquidity of the business using the liquidity ratio? We have the current ratio. Of course, it measures the ability to pay off the short-term liabilities with its current assets. And this is the formula. Okay? The current assets divided by the current liability. Quick ratio, it measures the ability of the company to pay the current liabilities when they come due only with the quick assets. Say quick assets, the assets that can be converted to cash immediately. So how can we compute what is the formula for the quick ratio? The current assets less the inventories, less the prepaid expenses divided by the current liabilities. Okay. Another one is the activity ratio. Okay. And activity ratio, it focuses primarily on how the firm effective in managing asset groups, receivables and inventories, and the total assets in general. Why do we need to do that? Analyze the activity ratio in order to see the performance and to see the status of assets that can be used for operation of the business to increase the profitability and the ability of those assets to cover up the liabilities as well. So what are the types of activity ratio? Okay, we have the receivable turnover. Okay, this is the efficiency ratio or activity that measures how many times the business can convert the accounts receivable into cash on the particular or during the period. So the formula for receivable turnover is about the annual credit sales minus the accounts receivable. And the average collection period is equal to number of days in the year and the receivable turnover. You cannot get the average collection period if we don't get the receivable turnover. Next, the payable turnover. Okay, this activity shows the company ability to pay off their liability or the accounts payable by comparing the net credit purchases to the average count during the period. So how do we compute for the payable turnover? The annual credit purchase divided by the accounts payable, and the average payment period is the days in the year divided by payable turnover. And then the profitability ratio, another type of financial ratio analysis. This ratio can be used to relate profits into sales and investment. And what are the types of profitability ratio to analyze the sales or the profit and sales? We have the gross profit margin. It measures how profitable the company sells the inventory or the merchandise and convert it into cash. So the formula for the gross profit margin is the gross profit divided by the net sales. And the net profit margin is a profitability ratio that measures the amount of net income with each peso which is generated by the sales and comparing the net income and the net sales of the company. So the formula is the net profit divided by net sales. Okay. And the last one, the leverage ratio. This ratio, it helps to analyze how the long-term funds are used. Talks about the long-term funds or long-term in business can be used in other concern of the business, and what are the types of leverage ratio. Okay, the first one is the debt to equity ratio. It shows the percentage of a company financing that comes from creditors and investors. So the formula is the total debt divided by the total equity. Debt to assets ratio, it measures the amount of total assets that are financed by creditors instead of investors. And the formula is the total debt divided by the total assets. So if you apply those things in the financial statements, in the balance sheet income statement, they will give those percentage in order to analyze the financial performance that's subject for the improvement. But take note that those financial ratios is not 100% accurate, but it can be used, of course, quantitatively in order to use that for the improvement of financial performance, improvement for the budgeting and controlling of expenses. Okay? Because the goal of the business is to increase or to maximize the profit with less minimum expenses. Okay, so let's move on to another topic, and I'll also discuss this one also, as this is a two-part. Sorry. This is a two-part. Okay, it is also part in the week 17 of your LMS, which is the financial planning. Of course, after we do and analyze the financial statements, which is even the financial performance of the business, it's time also after we do those the business do those things, they also need to make a financial plan, or they have to do a financial planning in order to improve the financial performance of the business by what? By extending their income into investments and to increase and to extend their business in order to saturate and reach out their market, because a business offers a business, it is very important for the feasibility of the product in order to generate profit and to extend the operation of the business. Okay, so what will be our learning objectives in discussing the financial planning tools and concept is to know the steps in financial planning, to identify the different types of financial budget, and to understand the basics of working capital management. So how do we define the financial planning? Financial planning, it is an ongoing process that will help the business for the financial decision for the objective of greater return on assets, growth in the market share, and solving foreseeable problems. Financial planning, it talks about doing plans that will be implemented or put it into action, that in order to, before the business made a financial decision, they had to evaluate excuse me, they have to evaluate and analyze all the resources in order to make a move on how to improve the returns or the profit, and how did they increase their market share into the marketplace, and to solve the foreseeable, the problems that we not seen, the problems that may not be seen for a while or immediately, or hidden issues. So what are the steps in financial planning? So of course, we have to determine your current financial situation. You have, of course, through the financial statements, you can identify and determine your financial situation. Are your returns are capable to pay your current expenses and liabilities, and thus your profit can extend investment and to extend the operation of your business, and even it will give you an idea about the foundation of your planning financial planning activities. And then after you analyze your financial situation, you should develop your goals or financial goals. What is the aim or the purpose of your financial planning? Of course, some of the goals is to increase the profitability and to improve the financial performance in order to cover up other expenses and liabilities, and also to and also to extend the operation of the business. And after you determine your financial goal, you should identify or make an alternative course of action or strategies by making policy and programs that will help in achieving your financial goals. And for each alternative course of action or strategies, you have to evaluate those alternative course of action one by one. Okay, you should evaluate it if these strategies or alternatives, it will be really helpful in achieving the goals or financial goals, or it will help the company to improve the financial performance, or it will lead to what? It will lead to damage or problems. Because not all alternatives can be good, that's why we have to evaluate. So once you evaluate those alternatives, it's time to create an action plan where you're going to make a programs, the standard operational procedures, budgeting, and controlling, or establishing standards on how to implement this kind of alternative in order to achieve your goals. And then you're going to evaluate and revise your plan, because you really need to assess the financial decision if those alternatives can be helpful or not. If it's not helpful, there are other alternatives that you not select, then you can choose that. That we call it as contingency plans. If you have the alternatives, you will try to evaluate it from number 1 to number 5. If the first choice of alternative course of action is not effective, you can choose number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. That's why we have to reevaluate the alternative course of action that we select and implemented, it's really helped the financial performance of the business. Okay, and part of the financial planning is budgeting. So the budgeting, it talks about the process of estimating the revenue and expenses over the specified period of time. Why do we need to do the budget? Budgeting is about allocation of financial resources that needs in the business activity. And budget must be given based on the financial performance of the revenue. It talks about the net income that can be allocated in other business activities. Okay? And budget has the following types. And what are those types? We have the sales budget. It talks about the itemization of the company's sales expectation for the budget period and units and amount. They use the sales budget to predict or to forecast the sales that can be used, that can be estimate the income that can be used in the activities. The production budget, it is the allocation of the number of products in the production. Okay? And they had to forecast the combination of the sales and the production in order to produce a finished goods inventory on hand. Because in the production budget, it is always considered the inventories. And the inventories should be converted into cash immediately so they can generate or yielding profits or yielding cash flow increasingly. Next, selling and administrative expense budget. This kind of budget, it talks about allocating resources or financial resources in paying the expenses. Of course, and what are those selling administrative expenses, such as the sales, marketing, accounting, engineering, and other facilities department? Because we should budget, allocate resources to pay those expenses based on the profit. So we have to control and have to plan to increase those profitability to cover up the expenses and liabilities. The cash budget, of course, contains the itemization of projected resources and uses of the cash for the future period. So it talks about what they call this, a petty cash. Okay, cash is part of the capital, but we have to a petty cash in order to circulate in case of extra activities that we need also an extra money or extra cash that can be used for other activities. And then, okay, those will be the capital. Those are the financial budgeting. And part of the financial budgeting is the working capital management. So the working capital, it measures the company's efficiency about their short-term financial health. Why do we need a working capital? Okay, because we have to refer the current assets that can also known as the working capital. Why? Because the current assets are the one to use to in the operation of the business to generate financial resource or to generate more revenues. While the net working capital, it considers the current assets and the current liability. Why? Because in the business, in the working capital, it is better consider the liquidity rather than the profitability. Because in case of closure, the business assures that all the liabilities from their creditors are settled before they proceed to foreclose in the future in case the business is under the foreclosure or bankrupt or they have to close even without financial loss. Okay? The net working capital is the excess of the current assets over the current liability during the particular period, as I have said, right? As I've said earlier, that they had to cover up the liabilities. And then the cash management. Okay, cash management, it talks about the maintaining the appropriate level of cash to meet the other business requirements or the business activities to maximize income in the idle funds. Because it's very important that we have also the cash on hand that can be circulated and needed for other business activities. So what are the motives of holding a cash or having the cash on hand? Okay, we have the transaction motive, of course, to meet the other payments that arise from the ordinary course of the business. It is very important you should have also the cash on hand when it comes to emergency funds in case of the payment of ordinary course of the business. And petty cash is part of the cash management. The speculative motive, it is used to take advantage of temporary opportunities, or if there is another business activities and you need some additional capital, if you have the cash on hand, it can easily convert it or invest it to it. And the precautionary motive is to maintain a cushion or buffer to meet unexpected cash need. Or in case of liabilities, in case of some problems or issues financially, this cash on hand can be used also to cover up some financial issues, okay, in order to meet the unexpected activities and unexpected cash need. Okay, so that will be the cash management. So cash management, it talks about holding a cash on hand that as an emergency fund in order to cover up some business activities. So what are the principles and techniques in cash management? Of course, first is the cash collections. We have to prepare the collectibles, okay, and we have to also to accelerate bills or payments, bills to our debtors. Okay, there's a technology that utilized to hasten the collection process by sending bills and collecting the debtors. And then cash payments, okay, part of it are the procedures. When we say cash payment, if there is a slowdown of disbursement of cash, it is not good because if the collectibles are not collected or not converted to cash, it cannot easily to cover up some liabilities or disbursements. Do not disburse large cash amounts immediately. Instead, you can use the payment checks, okay? So it will be deducted in the longer period of time because it is not, it is only a tip that that the cash can be used to other activities. We cannot disburse the large cash amounts immediately. Instead, using the checks that we should be funded, so the cash will be used to other activities and it will be returned immediately. And decelerate the cash payment through lockbox system. What do you mean decelerate? You should have a cash box while your sum of the cash on hand in part of your capital should be decelerate, keeping it in the cash box just in case of emergency activities. There should be an available fund or emergency fund that will cover up some other activities, especially payment of liabilities and expenses. And part of it is the inventory management. So inventory management, it involves about the proper purchasing of raw materials and converting into cash. Inventory also considers the sales or the inventories or the sales or the inventories of the things that you purchased that be converted into cash or selling it or reselling it. So what are the principal techniques in inventory management? It is very important to forecast the demand of the consumers in order to know the right amount of supply that we produce in order to prevent obsolete inventories that will lead to losses. Use the economic order quantity technique. As I've said, you have to determine the demand for a particular period of time so you can know the proper supply that you produce. Employ a cost-benefit analysis, and even the ABC method of inventory control may be useful. And so ABC method of inventory control talks about the first in and first out inventory. The business must have a safety stock or a warehouse and utilize the just-in-time inventory management if applicable and economical. Say just-in-time inventory, you don't need a warehouse in order to store those inventory of products. What you're going to do the just-in-time, you can only produce the right amount of supply of your inventory, and you should deliver it immediately to your customers. And even the receivable management is part of the financial planning or tools. When you say receivable management, it's a process of making a decision on how to collect such cash and how to maximize the overall return by collecting the receivables or collections from the debtors. So what are the receivables and techniques in receivable management? Of course, we have to offer the cash discounts. So if the creditors are going to pay it immediately during the discount period, so it is better to offer cash discounts so the creditors may pay their payables to the business. We should also offer the seasonal dating or seasonal discounts, especially in the peak season, so they can easily convert the collectibles into cash or even the inventory into cash. You can also utilize the technology in receiving payments, okay? Those are the online payments or even other mode of payment that we receive collections. And the financial manager may continually lower the firm's credit standards as long as the profitability from the change exceeds the extra cost generated by the additional receivables. And of course, we should anticipate also the bad debts or uncollected receivables by aging or determining the number of days past due, and even allowance method that we're going to deduct some of the uncollected receivables to the active receivables. Take note that the bad debts is not good in the business because it will lead to losses, because these bad debts are the profit that you earn, but it is not collected and converted into cash because it is not collected to the debtor, or the debtors have no capacity to pay that kind of collections. So so receivable management, inventory management, cash management, and working capital management is financial budgeting are part of the financial planning tools and concept in order to utilize the financial resources carefully in order to allocate some financial resources to the business activities, that make sure that business activities should be helpful in generating more funds for the extension of business operations. So that will be the two topics, which is the review of financial statements or preparation, analysis, and interpretation, and even financial planning.